Hello and welcome to the Drawing Animal Podcast. I am your host, Wesley Bear, and on today's episode, we're going to do a long requested episode, thanks to a subscriber of the channel, snow monkeys, or the Japanese macaque. Uh, this is, well, it took me a while to get around to this. This is probably in my top five favorite, primates, or at least monkeys. Um, I love lemurs. But anyway, I love Japanese cats. Japanese cats are kind of um epitome of what primates are, especially kind of these monkeys that fit kind of outside of the high tree dwelling, uh highly prehensile, highly agile monkeys. And it's not like these aren't, but there's definitely a contrast, and especially if you look at most New World versus Old World monkeys, which of course Old World referring to Eurasia, Africa, and that area, which of course is where Japanese macaques are from. Japanese macaques are found on three out of the four key major islands on the Japanese mainland. They live pretty much in between these kind of subtropical, almost jungle-ish, uh, highly humidity areas on one hand, but can climb up to the high alpine areas of Japan, high in the mountains. Uh, the mountain range can be pretty high in Japan, and so they can be found almost to the top of those mountains, up above 10,000 feet. But most of the time during the winter months, you will find them much lower, more closer to 4,000, 5,000 feet, just due to, of course, the nature of trying to rely on food, which, of course, being primates, they feed mainly on a herbivorous diet of fruit, veggies, plants, occasionally insects and other little things, but most of that, and also rich soils. They will search through soil, finding anything that kind of enriches their diet, like calciums and all that sort of stuff. So they'll go picking through that for food as well. In the harsh winter, they mostly rely on bark as a key substance for them to get through the winter. Again, they travel down further south during the winter where things aren't as harsh, but it can still be difficult, which is why they will often hunker around. And this has been kind of the prevailing, most well-known thing about Japanese macaques is their occasional love for hot springs, and they will travel down, find these hot springs down south, and they will gather around those for a certain period of time, in and out through the winter months, to keep warm. They also warm each other. Troops can be anywhere from about 10 to 20 usually, but there have been troops documented that go over at least 100 animals. So definitely a very sociable animal. Japanese macaques also are known for just being kind of rough and tumble and like a lot of macaques, so they're highly territorial as well. There's usually a couple of males that protect a certain area or protect certain members of the troop, especially if they're an older male. Um, but unlike a lot of other ones where you have one key male and then a bunch of females, that's not quite true among Japanese macaques. Japanese macaques kind of intermingle and they breed throughout the season with different pairs at different times. So there's not quite that same hierarchy as there is in some monkey and apes. Um, the other, so uh, breeding occurs basically anytime except for the summer months. So between September and April, and during that time is usually when young are born. Uh, there's usually just one baby, sometimes two, um, and he'll stick around for a couple years before he heads off. It'll take, well, a couple years, maybe about a year and a half, and then it'll though take another couple years for them to reach sexual maturity. Um, in the wild, they can live to be about 30 years, and that's actually about the same amount um, of time they live in captivity as well, which is kind of unusual that a wild counterpart lives just as long as its captive counterpart. This may be due to the thankfully that because of their kind of sacredness among Japanese people, um, Japanese are been highly protective of the Japanese macaque and snow monkey populations since the 70s. Highly protected species, and so there hasn't been a lot of destruction of uh, Japanese monkeys throughout the last 50 years, unlike so many other species, even species within certain species within Japan. Um, so that's great. Um, they are still occasionally hunted by humans, especially if they become a pest to local farmers, but that has become pretty rare, especially with the beloved nature that most Japanese have for this animal. They are hunted by occasionally wolves and sometimes eagles. Even the raccoon dog has been known to take a few younger Japanese macaques, but overall, um, Japanese macaques are kind of one of the most well protected species probably on the planet, definitely among primates. So there's no fear of Japanese macaques disappearing anytime soon. So there you are. There's the Japanese macaque. Um, so long requested. I finally got around to doing it, and I wanted to do a drawing that I was comfortable enough with doing. So that's nice. Um, Again, I will provide a link to my books in the description. I also have another podcast now, my Badgers and Bells podcast, which is about Redwall. And I will be doing art on that in the future. I even posted a little thumbnail for some art already earlier, if you ever saw that. Um, but yeah, so enjoy nature, enjoy drawing, enjoy God's creation, and have a wonderful day.